Are there aliens living in our solar system? We've heard about the world's most haunted. Is there a world's least haunted house? Answers to these questions and more on this episode of This Paranormal Life! Welcome back to This Paranormal Life. This is the weekly comedy podcast where every Tuesday you're joined by me, Kit Greer-Mulvena, and this guy sitting across from me, Mr. Roy Powers. Every week we get into a different paranormal tale, deciding by the end of this episode whether we think it's real or not. How you doing today, Rory?
I'm doing great, Kit. Ready to dive into a new paranormal case. As a paranormal investigator, you got to make sure that you're operating at a level of excellence, that you remain hydrated, you remain physically fit, and ready to tackle the paranormal at any given moment.
Couldn't agree more.
My dinner today, we're recording this a little bit late, my dinner today was a lollipop and this can of Dr. Pepper. So, I think I'm ready to go, brother.
Yeah, you're ready to go if you were 4 years old, but you're not enough for a grown man.
Yeah, sorry, when I said I'm ready to go, I meant to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh.
Yeah, right now.
Rory, unfortunately, we're kind of on a similar footing because I am not physically prepared either. I just got back from Glastonbury Performing Arts Festival.
Wow.
That's right, the Glastonbury in the middle of the Somerset countryside. I haven't slept in 3, 4, 5, 6 days, my friend. I am gone off the molly, gone off the ibuprofen, gone off just about everything, pharmaceutical and otherwise, to keep me kind of going, but it's starting to wear off. I think I'm about to headbutt the desk.
Yikes. All right, well then I say let's keep this train on the tracks and let's just dive in while you still got a little buzz and I've still got a little bit of my Dr. Pepper.
And can I let you know how I kept the buzz going at this music festival?
I think you said it was ketamine.
It wasn't. I didn't say that. I wouldn't. I did do it before Elon Musk, and now it's not cool anymore. Not true. I was kept going by one, the love of this Paranormal Life commune, because I found listeners of the podcast there, and we were speaking Japanese out in the field.
That's pretty cool.
Having a nice chat about everything in life, and then also because number 2 of 3. We were gifted hip flasks once. Do you remember this?
Yes, Space Juice hip flasks. I still have mine.
Our Space Juice hip flasks. Was just able to find that the moment before I needed to leave the house to go to Glastonbury.
Cool.
So clutch, it was unbelievable. Filled that bad boy up with whiskey.
Whoa.
Kept me because in a hot field,
yeah,
it's a chumps game to bring beer.
It ain't gonna be good.
To the tent. It's nasty after a couple of hours. Whiskey, always bad. Always the same. No, it's great.
It's always hot.
Good. It's always good. So that really kept me going. And 3, I think the most paranormal thing I saw while I was there, which kept me going, powered me through, was it's kind of famous for flags. People bring flags of anything, their country, or support of a cause of the Palestine, a Palestinian flag, #Free Palestine, or in the case of these people, just something they love or something they find funny. I saw this crew who I took a photo of, who had a big titty moth girlfriend.
Big titty moth girlfriend?
Yeah.
What?
It was kind of like a Mothman, but a moth woman.
Oh, okay.
Big titty moth girlfriend.
Moth girlfriend. Got it. All right.
So some nice Mothman species representation at the festival. Kept me going, kept me powered.
Ketamine going. Sorry, kept me going, I meant to say.
You know what rhymes with Kit? Let's get into today's story. I didn't do it. I didn't do that. I don't do that. I'm kind of boring. Right. We're going to get into today's story. I've got a huge paranormal tale for you. What are you laughing at?
Nothing. Ready to go. I'm just all excited to dive in. Let's do it.
So let's get into it. Quick reminder, we are coming on tour to North America. That is right. United States of America and Canada. Kind of just Toronto for 10 dates this August. All those dates and links are in the description of this show, or head on over to thisparanormallife.com/tour. It's gonna be lit. And also, this show is available ad-free right now at patreon.com/thisparanormallife. Rory, for this story today, we are winding back the clock weirdly exactly 100 years. It is a warm June evening in 1925. In the pastures just on the edge of the city of Leicester, a farmer returns from his day's work.
Ah, what a day. I'm exhausted.
Is that all the haystacks built then, my dear?
Almost. I'm running out of space, though. I might put one on top of that old rock tomorrow.
The Humber Stone?
The what?
The Humber Stone. Don't you go near that rock. It's dangerous.
You didn't have to repeat the name of the rock. I obviously meant what as in what is the rock. My dear. Not a idiot. Sorry, there's so much hay. It's been a long year. Oh, Tosh. Not this old nonsense. I'd expected round the village, but not from my own wife. If I had strength, I'd chuck that old rock off the land altogether.
The farmer was alluding to the huge granite boulder that poked out of the ground in his nearby field. His wife, like many of the locals, was wary and superstitious about the boulder. Strange stories had circulated the area for years, but as far as the farmer was concerned, they were old wives' tales. In this case, literally. So he promised not to go near it, just to placate her, and after a slug of ale, shuffled off to bed. The following day, he headed into the fields, and in direct contradiction to his wife's advice, he started to build a haystack, you guessed it, right at the flat top of the Humber Stone.
Ooh.
He rubbed his hands, happy with his day's work, but as he left the field, he spotted a few of his neighbours peering over the hedge.
Can I help you?
Covered the Humber Stone, I see. Sure that was wise?
What's with you people? It's a bloody rock! Now, if you don't mind, I'm off to the pub. I've better things to do than stare at a haystack. I think you'll find, as far as entertainment goes, it's not exactly interesting. What the fertilizer?
The haystack had spontaneously burst into flames. It roared loudly in the corner of the field, threatening the other haystacks. The local fire brigade was called, but as soon as they put the fire out, the haystack mysteriously reignited the moment they left the scene. In fact, it continued to burn for hours, regardless of any intervention.
Holy shit. Move it away from the rock.
The farmer was mystified. His wife's warning appeared to have been justified. This is the kind of I told you so moment that she could mentally dine out on for years.
Oh yeah, the one that everyone dreams about. And I gotta say, I don't blame the farmer in this situation. You know, even if someone did tell me that a rock was paranormal and was capable of enacting vengeance, it's a rock. What's a rock gonna do to me?
I mean, a rock is kind of one of the only inanimate objects that can kill you. But usually someone has to throw it or bash your head in with it.
It has to be kind of in motion. The rock itself becomes a powerful thing. Right. By itself, lying in a field, I'm going to sleep pretty well at night.
Right, a guy is like, this rock is wildly dangerous and paranormal. And it's like, he's like, you should be scared of it. And you're like, well, I'm not. I think it's stupid and it's idiotic. And anyone who believes it is a dumbass. And he's like, I'll show you, smashes your head in with a rock.
Right, so I should have been afraid of the guy. It sounds like in that case. Yeah.
He's in court. I was possessed by the rock on account of it being mysterious.
That's why, you know, you go to a haunted house or something and they say, oh, be careful because upstairs in the attic, some say they witness the ghost of a young boy who died many years ago. Bring him on. I will drop kick that little guy into the sun. That doesn't scare me. Yeah, there's an old dead woman in the attic? Fine with me. Let's go toe to toe. I'll drop a motherfucker.
Yeah, but this is rule 1 of ghosts. You can't drop them. They're see-through.
I told you dip a boxing glove in holy water and you swing. Works every time.
I've always been fascinated by Luigi's Mansion tactics. Just
suck them up.
Hoover it. Because Ghostbusters had proprietary technology. Like the shit they had, it wasn't household items, right? That was the whole shit. You had to that was their whole thing. Who you gonna call? I guess Ghostbusters, because they have a monopoly on the technology. Yeah. I tried to buy one of their machines and they stopped me. Whereas Luigi, I can mentally picture the video game. I think it was just a Hoover.
Right. Yeah. He just had a vacuum cleaner. Yeah. He kind of sucked him up. It really is a crime that in the Ghostbusters theme song, the famous line became, who you gonna call Ghostbusters, instead of the other great line in the song, Bustin' makes me feel good.
Does it say that?
I'm pretty sure it does.
Or is this like a like we are the champions thing, like Mandela effect, where like Rory thinks that happened, but
No, I'm pretty sure because he's referring to the act of
Ghost busting.
Ghost busting. But I think it's shortened down to at one point during an interlude.
Apostrophe
very
busting.
distant.
Apostrophe busting apostrophe, yeah.
Wait, let me just look this up. I want to make sure I didn't make this up. I am 99% sure in the lyrics somewhere it says Bustin' makes me feel good. Bustin' makes me feel good lyrics. There you go. It's in the song. If there's something strange sleeping in your bed, let me tell you something. If there's something weird sleeping in your bed, ow, let me tell you something. Bustin' makes me feel good.
All right, that's quite enough.
And
They knew something's in your bed. This is childish.
And then look how many times he says bustin' afterwards.
I apparently have no recollection of this song.
After he says that line, he says the words bustin'.
He says the word bustin' a good 16 times.
23 times in a row before a short interlude and then saying bustin', bustin', feel good, feel good, feel good. I think the website's broken. Yeah.
This is like when you ask ChatGPT something and it just like tells you what you want to hear for some reason.
Yeah.
Like Rory's like, does it say buddy? He's like, yeah, buddy. And it writes entirely new lyrics just for Rory. So at this point, the farmer is slightly embarrassed, financially down one bale of hay.
I don't know how much that costs the city boy.
I don't know how farms work. I assume that would feed a village for 3 months.
Yeah. He's like, that was $35,000 of hay.
Adjusting for inflation. But the neighbors knew what had happened. A dark energy had always surrounded the Humber Stone. The townspeople said the fire was, quote, due to the curse of the Humber Stone because it had been defiled.
Whoa.
The Hale Bay burned for 3 full days. You know what else comes in threes? 666.
What kind of, but it's also three's just a different number.
Rory, today we're talking about something very big, very ancient, and hopefully very paranormal. The Humber Stone.
Damn. Yeah, I kind of put that together by now.
We've said it 16 times, but that's my version of the song.
Kit just said, bussin', 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 Humber Stone, feel good, feel good. All right, listen, I don't want to, part of investigating the paranormal is putting yourself in the situation of the people witnessing these effects. I'm just going to throw something out there. Put a chicken on the stone.
What?
Put some ribs on the stone, a nice steak.
Oh.
See what happens.
Right. When you said chicken, you meant like a fillet.
Yeah. An uncooked.
Given the time period and setting, everyone assumed you meant live chicken.
Live chicken. Well, it won't be alive
for long.
This isn't
RuneScape. You can't just set fire to a live chicken and then, KFC appears. There's a process. But yeah, okay, you're saying put food on it, put something you can cook.
Yeah,
right.
Why not?
Yeah, because I don't know if you've tried to light a barbecue. Shit's impossible.
It's hard as hell.
Yeah, they make it like, they'll be like, we've literally attached a flammable sheet to the barbecue. All you got to do is just light your match, burn the sheet, it'll light the barbecue automatically. 9.5 times out of 10, the sheet bursts into flames, disappears immediately, and the coals are left dry and cold and unflamed.
Yeah, so if you've got an oven that can never go out, you're not a farmer anymore, buddy. You own a Benihana. There's a hibachi grill in your field. You need to start cooking up some delicious meals.
Yeah, you've turned into a 24-hour smokehouse.
Yeah.
You just need to keep the ingredients flowing.
Exactly.
I kind of think we don't talk enough about stones in the podcast. We have talked about some in the past. We talked about stone tape theory, stoned ape theory, not to be confused. And longtime listeners will remember the rock plug. Hell yeah, from my object about, quote, objects that just shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I think most people who did hear that episode don't listen anymore.
For sure.
After that episode. So probably that might be new information to a lot of people.
It was what it sounds like, which is, think of a plug for fill in the blank. A phone charger, blender. We're talking 2 prongs if you're American, 3 prongs if you're British. A plug, but it's a big old rock, and the prongs were coming out of a rock. Really mysterious.
Yeah, they found it underground. Archaeologists discovered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Sumerian or alien or something.
But we've also talked about, rocks and stones. That also includes gems. We've talked about cursed rings, cursed amulets.
Absolutely not. We're not including diamonds, gems, amulets.
Never mind.
rubies.
I was really trying to help you there. Really trying to throw you a bone.
I refuse. They're not stone. No, you are right. They're absolutely stones. That's a good shout. Personally, I only like grey stones, just boring old grey stone. And today we're talking about a big one, a huge stone monolith, one that has been part of the Leicester landscape since before humans even existed, 440,000 years ago.
Damn.
The stone was left there by a glacier during the Ice Age and would disappear and reappear at different points in history because it moved. I wish I could say it was because it apparated and disappeared out of this universe into a alternate timeline. That's what I thought. I got really excited. Turns out it just moved with the ice.
Yeah, or just weather. It just snowed and it went away.
And for huge periods of history, it went totally unnoticed because it was buried. But in 1881, it was fully excavated for a geologist's report, giving us this photo and Rory's first look at the beast.
Yeah, let me see how big this bad boy is.
This was when they excavated it at the top.
Whoa, okay. Let me tell you, smaller than I thought it was going to be.
All right, give me the
I will say, but I need to
back.
clarify because people listening, they're automatically going to think this thing is in a guy's hand. It's not that small. It's the size of I would say like an SUV.
I was gonna say a Cybertruck.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, now I'm looking at it again. Nowhere near. Quite a small car, actually.
And not a plug-in sight. So it's not an EV.
It's not a hybrid. Not a plug-in hybrid. We are talking a Volkswagen Golf. That is what we are looking at.
Let's just say, listeners of the podcast,
heavier.
You've seen bigger rocks than this.
Yeah. All right, maybe.
How do they know this flight path? They didn't exactly have an AirTag strapped to it. How do they know its journey across the world?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. It is 20 tons of syenite granite, almost 500,000 years old. And people were fascinated by its strange shape because it's made up of, from the side, it looks kind of normal. From the top, you see that it's made up of lots of strange grooves, which is completely impossible to see in the black and white image I'm showing you.
It's pretty blown out. It does look like if you told me this was like the bones of a dinosaur,
right?
I'd kind of be like, okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'll show you.
It's weird.
The viewers on YouTube and on Spotify are seeing a different image right now to Rory, and you'll see it kind of looks like a brain or something on top. It's kind of groovy, and not in a hippy-dippy way. But it wasn't just its looks that contributed to these stories. It's believed that the stone was extremely important for druids living in the area during the Iron Age. The historian John Dudley suggests that, quote, the Humber Stone was used as a sacrificial altar.
All right, now we're talking because look, I love you to bits, buddy. I really do. But I think we had a couple more episodes in us before we had to move on to weird looking rocks. So glad to hear that there is a certain element of the paranormal involved today.
Didn't you hear about the perma fire? The fire that burned for 4 days?
Sure. You added an extra day. You added an extra day just now.
3 days.
Hoping I wouldn't notice.
6, 7, 9 days.
And you got to check, Kit, because we'd be on to the 2-week fire real soon if you don't keep them in line.
Look at it. Look at what happened. That's a borderline photograph.
All right, Kit's showing me a drawing of...
It's a photo.
Sure. So it says underneath it, Druid rituals on the Humber Stone. Mm-hmm. And there's a naked dude kneeled over on the rock, kind of with his head looking down towards the ground. And there's a guy over him, looks like an executioner. I don't know what he's holding, but it seems like he's about to smite this little guy.
Smaller rock, probably.
It's probably a piece of the Humber Stone.
You know what our religion is in Druid times? We take a little rock and we kill you on the big rock. That's kind of, it's like, who are you praying to? The rock god.
Rock man. Yeah.
Is it possible that this ritualistic sacrificial period supercharge the stone with evil energy? Did the druids appease the right gods or accidentally invoke the wrong ones?
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. Because, you know, I don't know everything about the guy upstairs, but bashing people's heads in with rocks, I don't think that was one of the things on his checklist.
Yeah, kind of. But remember, who was the fella? He was like, he was like, psst, kill your son. I was like, what? You heard me. You heard me. He's like, God, you've been drinking again. I was like, kill your son.
He was so bored that day. He's like, what can I make him do? Abraham, yeah, kill your son. It's only fair. I had to kill mine. You got to kill yours.
It's like, but God, I couldn't live if I killed my son. He's like, honestly, I was sad for like a week, and then I kind of forgot about it. You'll be fine.
Yeah, he's like, I mean, God, it's no big deal for you because Jesus came back. He's back? Oh,
He's pissed.
Shit.
Oh.
I got to call my door guys. Don't let him in. But you are right. This does seem like it's more in favors of the guy downstairs. Potentially.
So it's possible they charged the site with some sort of weird paranormal energy by sacrificing a bunch of people on the rock. But it's also possible the druids used this site because there was already something inherent, some paranormal energy was already attached to the stone. Whatever the origins are, there is a long-held belief in this area of England that the Humber Stone is cursed. The news site Leicestershire Live described a story from as far back as 1756. At that time, another farmer owned the land. Unlike our more recent farmer, this guy had heard the stories. Now, unlike our more recent farmer, the one in the 1700s had heard the stories. But like our recent farmer, he too took little notice of the superstitions. He found the stone a major inconvenience and took drastic action. He broke off the upper parts of the stone so that a plough would be able to pass over it.
Oh boy.
This turned out to be a bad move.
The man burned for 4 days.
But somehow never died. The newspaper reported that the owner of the land who did the deed never prospered afterwards. He was reduced from being the owner of 120 acres to absolute poverty and died in the parish workhouse.
Oh, god damn. The rock made it personal.
Yeah. It hadn't figured out like flame magic yet. It was more like, it went Kendrick Lamar mode. It was like, I'm going to systematically ruin your life over the next 3 years. By the time we get to it in 1925, it's just like flames, clicks its fingers, and just stuff goes up into flames. These cases continue into recent history as well. In 1980, a local newspaper, the Leicester Mercury, ran a strange story indeed. A 10-year-old schoolboy had begun producing terrifying drawings at school. Day after day, he tirelessly created images of the same subject, described as, quote, a creature with a goat's head and long curving horns, a man's body and cloven hoofs.
How old is this kid?
10.
Okay.
Worryingly, he started to include himself in each of the drawings too. The headline of the article ran, quote, boy drew creature that stood beside his bed.
It's a slow news week. Yeah, it's a weird, just because it's a little demonic, I guess they know parents are going to kind of freak out about it. But no one interviewed me when I was 10 years old and drew a picture of Batman 69ing Sonic the Hedgehog.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on. They're like, what do you call this one, Rory? Gotta go fast.
It's called Bussin' Makes Me Feel Good.
Who do you think would be the top or the bottom in that situation? Moving on.
Batman. Batman's bottom.
Which?
Batman's bottom, for sure. He thinks he's top, but he's too grumpy and moany, I think. Yeah.
I can hear Sonic the Hedgehog talking dirty in my head. It's up. All right. And now you're hearing it at home too.
Do you think when Sonic comes,
all right,
rings, gold rings explode out of him?
Yo, pause.
It goes, Phil, can you beep when
This
I say?
used to be a thing. This used to be a show. Are
I'd like you to beep that, please.
you quite done?
Yeah, I'm done now.
It's just that you were saying that, hey, I'm a little worried that the stone's not going to be so paranormal. You know what else isn't paranormal? Sonic coming.
All right, beep that too.
So
we don't have to. We can move past that.
You brought it up.
You said a child drew a goat man that was watching him from his bed.
Yes, and I'd love to get back to telling that story if you would allow me.
Okay.
The boys' teachers were worried.
George, love, what have you drawn here? And here? And oh, there it is again.
George's response chilled them to their very core. I don't know, miss. It's the thing I sometimes see at the end of my bed.
Ugh.
When the article described where the family were from, readers quickly picked up that the Humber Stone lay literally just across the road from where this was taking place at school. And in fact, it wasn't just the boy who'd gone all weird. When the family moved out of their house and it was taken over by George's grandmother, she had her own spine-chilling experience. She told the newspaper, quote, "The Humber Stone ghost tried to choke me."
There's a ghost now?
Yeah.
Wow, so you'd even have to upset this thing, just being in proximity of it, and it's going to affect your life.
We're going to hear more about it here, but yeah, things are kind of escalating. I guess earlier we had the flames, we had the guy's career being ruined. Who knows if it's paranormal? Yeah. Poltergeist activity. But this is similar but different. I mean, this is such classic horror movie shit. Is like a child can see the creature. The creature visits them in their dreams or something.
Yeah. I mean, I would say this is a pretty widespread of paranormal repercussions we're seeing here. You really don't know how this thing's going to hit you if it decides to hit you. It could be that you start seeing visions. It could be that you wake up one morning and your cat explodes. Honestly, it seems like it just says a bunch of Harry Potter-ass words and just flicks its wrist and something bad happens to you.
Well, Rory, you're about to see it got pretty direct in the 80s. The grandmother continued, saying, "I was roughly awakened, feeling that my life was being choked out of my body."
Whoa!
And faintly, in what she thought was her dying breath, she heard the words, quote, "Get off my rock." I don't know if it said that. But the choking happened. The choking definitely happened. But that's probably what the ghost was thinking.
Then mittens exploded in her lap like C4. Wow. Okay. Well, this thing has a voice now, which means we can learn about it. And that's what's important. Kit's looking at me like it ain't gonna speak again. I could tell by look at his face.
Yo, reading way too much. Phil, cut that. Cut that for real. Author and researcher Hugh Williams describes another short but harrowing story connected to the stone from around the same time. He stated that after hearing of groans emanating from the stone at night, a man from Barkby named Pochin decided to investigate the Humber Stone armed with a revolver.
Bad start.
Whatever happened that night is not fully known, but he happened to shoot two of his own fingers off in a panic, blasting away at something in the dark.
How did he blast his own fingers off?
I don't know, maybe he was holding the gun with two hands and then he put his... How does someone take a photo with a thumb in it? I don't know, but it happens all the time.
Yeah.
I like that his name was, presumably, when they interviewed him, his name was Pochin. A completely made up name. That's just the sound the gun makes.
I thought that was the name of Irish moonshine.
Yeah, Pochin.
Pochin, yeah. That's not a good sign, is it?
You shot it.
That's like if your key witness is a guy is named Jack Daniels. It's like, this could be a coincidence, but it is going to make you a little harder to trust.
And here's my cousin, Jose. All right. Jose Cuervo, that's right. Does this not prove the curse? A man tried to shoot the rock and shot his own fingers off.
Don't believe me? Ask the triplets. Vodka, soda, lime. Get over here. This man wants you. I wants to ask about what Daddy saw last night. Hey, I think this is interesting because what we have here seems to be a rock that doesn't like it when people go near it. It doesn't like being touched. It doesn't like being messed with. It's interesting because some people will know that in Ireland, we have our own version of this. We have a rock that does like being touched, and it's called the Blarney Stone.
Right.
This is a rock located in Ireland where you can you go visit it. I believe you kiss the rock. I think it's hanging very precariously on a cliff or something.
Yeah, I've never been to it. Don't you have to like hang upside down or something?
You have to grab these bars and they kind of dangle you over a little cliff.
So yeah, just build steps.
Yeah,
around it or
I
something.
don't really understand it, but the idea is that you kiss the Blarney Stone, and I used to think it was like good luck or maybe you're blessed with good fortunes or whatever. I think you get, quote, the gift of the gab.
Oh.
Which just makes you maybe, I guess, more charismatic, a good storyteller,
Yeah.
a more interesting person. You get the gift of the gab.
Very Irish, because of course, if you go to Lourdes in France, you drink the water, drink the water at the holy pilgrimage site. Your cancer could be cured. The blind will see. The wheelchair bound will walk again.
Yeah.
In Ireland, they're like, you'll be a bit of crack.
Yeah.
What happens if I kiss the rock? You'll stop being a boring bastard. That's what'll happen.
You'll
With any luck.
have something to talk about for once.
You door. It's like, all right, now I'm just being roasted by the tour guide. This is great.
So look, I'm just, in the same way people have to say, this is not financial advice.
Yes.
This is not paranormal advice. Has anyone tried kissing the Humber Stone? Sweet talk it a little.
Yeah.
Bustin' makes me feel good.
All right.
Just go over there and see if you can win it over, like we have done with the Blarney Stone.
Imagine you went to kiss the Blarney Stone and it Frenched you back. and some of your friends are like, well, how was it? Or like, don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Don't want to talk about it.
I think it grabbed my nuts when I went down for the kiss.
It whispered.
I don't know. I might have been the tour guy. I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's that classic kind of cartoon fake out where they're like, you gotta pucker up your lips, you gotta close your eyes, and then they replace the stone with a dog's ass. It's just something real slapstick style.
So yeah, it's not the first time we've heard about a rock with paranormal powers. This is just the Blarney Stone's Wario, the evil version.
Yeah, Waluigi stone. Okay. Well, Rory, I'm glad you brought it up because we have framed the Humber Stone today as a kind of something to be feared, something that we should honestly, Oppenheimer himself should have been trying to harness the power of the Humber Stone, put it inside a metal casing and drop it on enemy countries. Something that's dangerous. But actually, maybe because of all these terrifying tales, there seems to be a deep respect locally for the Humber Stone. And the community has tried to protect it over the years rather than blow it up with dynamite. A guy called John Harrison wrote about it, saying, during the 1980s, the Humber Stone was under threat from the New Hamilton housing development and a road widening project. But as locals campaigned to save the stone, strange myths and legends about the stone came to light as people shared their stories. Accidents and bad luck to those who interfere with the stone. A ghostly monk seen nearby, as well as a possible UFO sighting. Another hideous creature with a goat's head and a human body. And not to mention the author of this very book almost being struck by lightning right next to the stone. That is kind of crazy. If you go to write about this paranormal stone and then this stone that is supposed to up anyone who comes nearby, and then a bolt of lightning hits the ground next to you.
Yeah. The author of what book?
This book. This guy, John Harrison, he was writing about the stone.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's only a little disheartening because you're like, dude, I'm on your side. I'm trying to get people to understand you.
This is a dog. You're trying to let it sniff your palm. Like, don't me up here. I'm trying to give you a treat.
This does feel very similar in theme to even the people with good intentions trying to protect the stone. It's very much like John Hammond trying to protect Jurassic Park. It's like, dude, they're monsters. They're monsters that want nothing but to hurt.
They're misunderstood.
Yeah, exactly.
Put him in handcuffs. Get him out of here. He doesn't get it.
Euthanize the T-Rex. It doesn't have feelings. And it's the same with the stone. Blow it up with dynamite. You're not going to like win it over or like earn its favor, because you want to protect it and build like a nice barrier around it. It's going to try and hurt you. It summons a man with a goat's head.
The guy trying to defend Jurassic Park as well. He's trying to buy time in the control room, being like, no, you don't understand because it's a beautiful place. He's trying to smash the like red button underneath the desk that releases all the dinosaurs. He's just a maniac. He's a maniac. Rory, I don't disagree with you. I do think this rock, kind of no good can come from it. I believe this story begs the question on all of our lips. Is this stone haunted, or are all stones haunted?
Terrible place to go.
Because we have to bring up the fact that weird f***ing stones are littered all across the British Isles.
All right.
Stay with me.
Okay.
Take Rudston Monolith in Yorkshire has been long associated with dark and demonic forces. And it is a terrifying 28 feet tall. It has a kind of similar pagan history and is so feared that it is actually referred to as the Devil's Finger. That's a mad looking one.
Yep, Kit is showing me a picture of a really big rock. Very tall, does kind of look like a big pillar kind of jetting out of the ground. Gotta be more than this, for sure. Like, I'm sure that, there's been a lot of great stuff so far, but the last kind of
quite done?
10 minutes of this podcast can't just be you showing me pictures of rocks.
I got like 17 more rocks to get through. Are you done? I really have to keep going.
Okay.
All right, listen to me. All right, listen to me. Because you have the audacity to come at me talking about the rocks when not only is the British Isles completely covered in rock formations, think of Stonehenge, Carrow Moor, places that are ancient sites of paranormal mystery where the Druids figured out how to put rocks in. It was like the original Minecraft. They were putting rocks in formations that would make portals open up in the earth.
All right, those are some tall
claims.
And
you come at me when you yourself hosted a podcast 2 years ago.
Uh-oh.
On a giant pile of rocks called the Giant's Ring. Isn't that right, Rory?
Yes, this is true. The Giant's Ring is an ancient, I would say it goes beyond rock formation, because it is, in fact...
Does it?
It was more than that. It was, there's a name for it, but I don't remember what it's called.
A dolmen.
A dolmen, is that it?
Yeah, it's like a tomb, I guess.
Yeah, a tomb. It's like a structure that's built. It's enormous. That does involve, yes, some rock formations.
It's all rocks.
No!
It's entirely rock.
They built like tunnels and weird
Made
bits.
of what?
And then I think people found you could go inside of it and there was like a tomb where there was like bodies and bones and stuff.
Cool.
The Devil's Finger, you didn't even tell me what it was. You just said it was terrifyingly tall and showed me a picture of it.
I said it's been associated with dark magic for thousands of years or some shit.
Okay. All right. Well, yes. My case, the Giant's Ring, when people entered the ring, they would get lost in a thick and impenetrable fog, of which we had some testimonies from people who'd gone in. I believe it's in Belfast, or not far from Belfast.
That's right. But interesting, because it's not exactly the same, but we're talking about ancient rocks, ostensibly from a vaguely similar time period. And despite them being associated with, let's say, like funeral stones, or I guess something nice or some sort of memorial, actually kind of associated with pretty, I don't know if you would call getting lost in this mystery fog a curse, but it's not a million miles away. It's a pretty bad experience. So kind of similar in some ways to the effects of the Humber Stone. Yeah,
very true. There's something going on here. Something strange that's affecting people who just come in proximity with it.
Of course, one big difference is that the Giant's Ring was created by humans. Now, the stones themselves might have been chosen because of their paranormal magic. But the Humber Stone is, by all accounts, it was there already, and then maybe humans used it then in a kind of supernatural way.
Right.
But one commonality between them is that sadly, because those cultures have largely died out or been replaced, we don't know from the people themselves exactly why they were used. What those paranormal teachings are probably completely lost to time. So all we can do is the next best thing. Go on to blogs online and just read what comments people are leaving about the Humber Stone.
Yeah.
To try and learn more. On one website, a user named Andy B helped explain the concept of the stone, saying, local folklore suggests that this was dropped by a god and is the home of fairies. The Humber Stone has become a symbol of the community. Someone else commented, I think it's a brain. Followed up by saying, this is well worth a visit for anyone who's in the area. Plus, there's a KFC next door.
They're cooking chicken on it! I knew it! I called it right at the start!
The fire is underground. They've dug out underground.
Oh my god.
Interesting. Well, I like that. And you did that with no edibles in your system, as far as we know. One user, Mark Weber, posted a great folk legend about the Humber Stone on Facebook, writing, quote, I heard that years ago, if you had a horse that needed reshoeing, you could tie the horse to the stone at midnight and place 2 silver pennies on top. And when you return at dawn, the pennies would be gone and so would the horse. Magic.
And if you return at dawn, you'd have a perfectly cooked horse.
Chris Tiplady said, this is just up the road from where I live. There's a lot of ley lines that run all across Leicester. Very interesting. Shaz Hall added to the debate saying, I went to see it last year. It made me feel a bit queasy and uneasy. Very strange. I'll give the last word to a user, Damon Wagley, who wrote, superstitious claptrap. It's a rock.
Okay, we found the skeptic, guys.
The spectrum of thoughts about this thing. I thought that was a cool thing to throw in, though, at the end. Something we talked about in the show before, done an entire investigation into, in fact, ley lines.
Yeah.
Something that, it ties up perfectly, really, with something like this. Do you remember the idea of ley lines?
Yes, yeah, I do. Lines that are drawn across the planet where paranormal activity is heightened. Don't remember the science behind people discovering where they are.
Science?
Well, I assume there was some kind of justification, whether that was like an increase in electromagnetic waves. I have no idea. I assume someone tried to measure it in some form.
That's a really good question. I think there was an element of like people measuring things, like, what in my EMF reader's going nuts over here. I think it was also more like you would get out a map of the world and then you would put a pin on the Great Pyramid of Giza and then put a pin literally on Stonehenge and then like draw a line between them and be like, that's a line.
Right, yeah. This is where they saw the Mantis Man. That's one as well. Yeah. Draw out from there.
Dublin Gorilla Man.
Sure.
Connect to, the first time Katy Perry ever played Fireworks Live. Like just a magical moment in history. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see. It seems like it's gotten to a point where this is a tourist attraction. Where many people can visit it and they might not see any repercussions.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice, in a way.
Yeah, the rock's just tired.
Yeah,
it's like overwhelmed. It's like, stay away. Oh, my powers are drained. There's too many bus loads of tourists coming off. He's trying to do like Expelliarmus. Just dust is coming out of his wand. I'm so tired.
Yeah, it misses and hits a sheep in the field across.
It drops dead.
It kind of feels like, when you have that friend who like goes to Thailand and they're like, yeah, I had a photo taken with a gorilla. And you're like, that gorilla looks really sick. I think they're pumping him full of drugs to like sedate him so he doesn't rip your head off.
It's barely alive. Yeah.
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 So maybe that's it. Maybe it's kind of a sad thing. Like I feel a little bad for this rock. He's currently just being so overwhelmed by tourists and probably paranormal investigators that there's just not a lot of go left in it.
Yeah. So true.
We need to freak out the rock again. Let's get the rock all riled up. When was the last time we did a blood sacrifice on the rock?
Let's what do we know about the rock, right? It's grumpy.
Yep.
It's old.
Mm-hmm.
Stay with me here. We show it like a Charlie XCX music video. Something guaranteed to piss it off.
Oh, right.
Like,
yeah.
you know how grumpy boomers are? This thing is like, 440,000 years old.
Yeah.
Let's show it like...
Let's teach it the apple dance.
Charlie's show
dance.
it a Troye Sivan music video.
Yes.
It'll be like, oh, society's gone to shit. And it'll start fire, sparks will start flying out of it. They'll be so annoyed.
Yes. Yeah, it's going to really piss it off. Or we go the other way with it. What is it like? It likes being old and it likes being grumpy.
Right.
So we, Midsummer style, sacrifice old people at the altar. So when it's kind of rejuvenated on old blood, the old people can get killed because they're at the end of their lives and they're going to die anyway. And then it's like, yes.
Right, but that's how we got in this problem, though, is by feeding the old gods.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Forgot the rock was a problem.
You're just trying to personally activate it.
Well, yeah, because it's kind of, I feel like...
Rory's eyes have gone black and he's rolled them into the back of his head, by the way.
If I could harness the power of the rock, then I would surely be unstoppable. And I could bring in the new age of Rory.
The rock is like,
good, my child, you have reawakened me. What is your one earthly wish?
200,000 Instagram followers.
Really? That's it?
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Yeah.
That'll be sick.
Any more than that, it'd be a bit weird. It'd be hard to follow.
Yeah. People would know something was up.
Yeah, that'd be fine, yeah. It's either that or it's like I'm collecting them, like the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
So I'll have this one. I'll have the Blarney Stone. I just got to get a couple others.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
would you say the devil's dick or something? I'll get that one.
The devil's dildo is a bit big to fit in a gauntlet, but hey, if you've got the power of Thanos, you could do it.
There we go.
Okay, so I think we've got some interesting ideas to take away there. We are still left with one problem. At the end of every episode of This Paranormal Life, we do have to decide whether we think our case is real or not. Rory, I'll recap. We have a mix of kind of really old folk tales as well as much more recent ones from the 1980s. Stuff going on fire, little boys seeing goat men.
Yeah, we didn't really hear a lot more about that.
People just feeling sick nearby or something. And generally a bit of chaos. Where's your head at?
It's the problem that we have when we investigate anything like ley lines in general. It's like on the one hand, you're like, we know this is real because look at the amount of paranormal activity we're seeing, all these different kinds. But then also that's the downside with no concise kind of justification or meaning or reasoning or origin story. It makes it a little harder to track why this thing would be haunted. I think at one point you said there was a UFO involved.
Yeah.
Someone said the rock was a brain.
I kind of like the UFO. I like the idea of a UFO like landing strip. That came up in the ley lines episode.
A landing strip?
Where in the ley lines they were like, yeah, but the UFOs, they know the hotspots. That's why they built the pyramids at Giza. We'll move on.
But this stone is the size of a Mini Cooper. I don't think an alien craft is using this as a runway.
Well, it's more of a
maybe like a helipad or something.
It's like the way that for me or you, we use landmarks like if me and you were meeting in town, we'd be like, let's meet by Leicester Square tube station.
Right.
In the ocean, fish are like, let's meet by the pointy rock. And the UFOs,
I don't know if they do that necessarily.
They're a little more like the fish, honestly, because I think the UFOs can sense the paranormal energy, supernatural energy coming off the ley lines, and they'll be like, oh, let's obviously meet at Stonehenge.
Got it. It's like a beacon.
Yeah.
It serves as like a beacon in the
Shouldn't
dark.
have said the fish bit.
Yeah, the fish bit was weird.
But they have their own landmarks. They really do.
I don't know if that's true.
Bees dance to give directions.
You need to stop.
You know that, right?
You need to stop.
They do the
talking.
wiggle dance. They do the apple dance whenever they find an apple. They're like, I said the apple blossom sweet to the core. I saw the bees go over there and eat like never before.
You've lost it. You've actually lost your mind. On a podcast, bees do the apple dance?
Bees dance.
What are you talking about?
Have you not heard this? Bees, everyone knows this. Children know this at school. Bees do what is called a wiggle dance.
To who? To the other bees?
So this is what they do. They go to they find a flower, and then they're like, holy there's like so many flowers over there. Yeah. And then they fly back to the hive, and then they literally do a dance. I'm pretty sure you could watch the routine online. I think it's like a TikTok dance now. They do a little dance to the other bees. And I think scientists have like studied it so much, they've worked out what the dance is. They're like, there's like the length of the dance describes the distance in like the longer the dance is, the further away it is. And it's literally a dance that tells the other bees where it is. And then as soon as the dance is done, he's like, everyone got it? Capiche? Let's go. And then all the other bees follow them to the flower.
Depending on where the flower is located, it's either slide to the left, slide to the right, sometimes crisscross, and then everyone will generally clap their hands.
2 buzzes this time.
Everybody flap your wings. So
my joke about the apple blossom dance would have been way funnier if everyone had known what the wiggle dance was already. It's a double no.
No this week.
Yeah, it's a no.
But you know what? I want to give Kit, he's just throwing his pages in the air. I want to give Kit a round of applause.
Imagine that. Imagine like burning paper. You just like trees had to be cut down for this horse shit.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are in the midst of a professional podcaster, all right? There are few people in this world, few hosts of anything in this world that could turn a story about a rock.
You did it 2 years ago. Giants rock, bunch of rocks.
Into 50 plus minutes of premium content. I'm saying this as a compliment. As a testament to how good a paranormal investigator that you are.
Right. This is like when Cory Booker did the 24-hour filibuster.
Yeah.
In like the House or whatever.
This is impressive.
Yeah, this is like holy shit. Like that was pointless, but that was impressive.
Yeah, really, I think we've all come away with feeling like this was a real debate. And then in an hour or two, we're going to be like, wait a minute, what the
Yeah.
He just got us all thinking about a rock for an hour.
Yeah, much like the filibuster, it'll be like, wow, like well done. That was really impressive. Filibuster shouldn't exist though. Like we can all agree. Yeah. Just like this episode shouldn't have existed.
And by the time we've all figured out that this was one big con, Kit's made away with the Patreon money this month.
Right.
And he's moved on to the next town like a true grifter.
Yeah. Kind of proud of that, yeah.
Yeah, so it is a double no, but I actually think that was a great episode of the podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
We had demons, we had fire and flames, we had a weird mention of UFOs. Can't really remember what else happened, but we got there in the end. If you are from Leicester, if you know about the stone, maybe it made you feel weird. Let us know. This Paranormal Life podcast at gmail.com to let us know your experiences. We really do troll that email inbox. We've been doing it for 8 years. We continue to do it. Let us know your thoughts.
You know, we were recently at a convention, the world's largest UFO convention called Contact in the Desert.
Yep.
While I was out there, they have a bunch of stalls where you can purchase some strange things. One of the things I purchased, don't know why, was I believe called a fortune stone. Do you remember this?
Nope.
It was a small circular rock, which I believe either granted you good fortunes or allowed you to see the future. I don't really remember the specifics. All I remember is the thing cost $25, which is insane for a rock. But I do have to say, ever since receiving that rock, which is now in my apartment, my life has gotten progressively worse.
Really?
Really not great.
Refund.
Lot of misfortune. Mystery illness kicked in, I think, like 24 hours after I bought that thing.
Yeah, you were drinking heavily.
As you know, well, that was unrelated. Yeah, you have to, when a mystery illness hits that hard, yeah, you're going to want a little booze too on the side. So I really don't know what to do. And after this episode, I'm no closer to figuring it out. Do I kiss the rock?
Well, it's kind of, the problem is as well, it's like, imagine, you get really sick and you've been taking vitamins flat out. And then it's like, all right, well, I feel bad taking the vitamins, but maybe the vitamins are the only thing keeping me alive at this point. So
Yeah.
I guess I better hold on to the rock in your case.
Yeah, could things have been way worse, but the rock is helping me?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
know what to do.
That's some like when you only saw one set of footprints, that was when I carried you shit. Like
Yeah.
you're like, the rock's doing nothing. Like the rock is like, it's that meme
Fighting
of
for its life.
of the soldier taking all the arrows in the back, being like, brother, your karma, I don't want to tell you some bad news, but your karma is not good, my dude.
The rock is like, you do so much dumb shit every day. You slept 3 hours last night. That's why you're sick.
Yeah, you should have had 16 terminal illnesses by now, but I'm stopping that from happening to you.
The rock's going to explode any minute now, I'm pretty sure. But if my life continues to get worse, then we have an exciting announcement. Next month's Patreon raffle is a rock.
Right.
We'll be giving away the
lucky
rock.
winner.
Yes.
Hey, I'm glad you brought this up because I forgot that we after all of this, we went on a pilgrimage to a giant rock
Yeah, we also went to a big rock.
called Giant Rock.
Yeah. Which we will talk about in some capacity later on this podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think we're done with giant rocks on this podcast, but actually there's a really interesting one
It is a
we
big
went
rock.
to, a pretty famous one with an unbelievable story.
Bigger than this rock today, let me tell you.
A lot bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you. Pretty cool, interesting stuff. That is sometimes I give a fun little PSA at the end of an episode. This episode reminded me of if you live in the UK, and kind of honestly, if you live anywhere, Google cool rocks near me. Because
Okay.
I did this recently, and let me tell you, there was some cool rocks. Because where we grew up, there is like, as an example, in our local graveyard, there is one of these stones. There's a standing stone that's like 10,000 years old, and they're like, yeah, druids put it there, and we've just not moved it.
What?
Yeah, and there's even a burial stone that people are probably getting sacrificed on and shit. Right round the corner from me, at a guy's house. It's in his garden.
Whoa, I wouldn't feel comfortable living next to that
And
thing.
scientists are just like, yeah, it's just in this guy's garden. It just like, I guess they bought the house and before people knew what it was.
That's pretty crazy.
So honestly, look it up. And then in America, I mean, you've got, there's all kinds of crazy stuff from all through Native American history too. So definitely worth looking up.
Hey, I mean, what's even crazier is that all rocks are pretty old.
Yeah, like by definition.
Yeah. I swear I'm not high right now. But just something to think about when you're holding a rock in your
it's
hands.
the oldest rock of all? Earth, 4.35 billion years old. Let's move on.
Did you know fish dance to show each
The
other?
wiggle dance is real. The wiggle dance is real. Look it up, I think.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Patreon.com is the place to support this show. Get yourself bonus episodes. There's hundreds of utter nonsense, even more nonsense than this. Bonus episodes, investigations into the paranormal for as little as $5. Get your access. Patreon.com/This Paranormal Life.
We also, over on Patreon, as a reward on one of those tiers, we actually do a raffle where we give away cool objects right here from the studio and from old paranormal investigations. It ain't doing me any favors. I say next month is the rock.
Okay.
We'll give away the rock. You want a cool rock in your life? We have a $25 fortune stone. And I have, I guess, a couple weeks to delete this from the episode if the stone wants to save itself.
Right. Imagine you gave it away and then the next got it, won the Euro millions.
Yeah, I might have to have a disclaimer that's like any good fortune that
Yes,
follows the
I take a
receiving of the
cut.
rock, I do get a 5% cut of anything.
That seems fair and safe. Patreon.com/This Paranormal Life. Link is in the description of this pod. At the end of the show, we like to also give a shout out to a couple of those people who have supported us lately.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So a special thank you to Kyle Sivalier. Kyle Sivalier saved a year of his life by holding on to a little lucky stone
Whoa.
one time because he was on the dock. He was getting charged with armed robbery. And the judge was going to put him down for 15 years. And he had the little stone and only got 14 years.
Oh, no.
So
Well, that's
Just
not
goes
good.
to show, hold on to the stone, you know?
It sounds like he's still got a pretty bad punishment.
Yeah, awful, awful. I mean, he only went down like 6 months ago as well, so like...
He's got a long time to go. Jesus. Okay.
Like, if anything, he should have bought a bigger stone. Imagine you had a big enough stone, the judge's eyes just like rolled back into his head and went, not guilty. You're like, hell yes, sweet.
I mean, if it gets a little bigger, you could just use it to hit the judge. Try and get a run for it.
That time that the guy threw a shoe at George Bush's head, just Hail Mary. Thank you, Kyle. Good luck, brother. Brother on the inside. Get out soon. Thanks. That was quick. Lastly, but not leastly, today, to Greg Dalloway. Greg doesn't go my way or the highway. Greg goes the Dalloway.
What is that option?
Craig wakes up in the morning, smashes his alarm off, and he follows the dollar. He follows the dollar. Wherever money is going,
the dollar. Got
he
it.
follows that dollar.
The dollar way.
The Dalloway. Greg Dalloway goes the Dalloway.
Got it. All right. So
Yeah. So wherever it's going, he's following it. If ice cream is booming, he takes out a bank loan, opens an ice cream truck, boom, 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 boom. He's got 5 ice cream trucks by next month. He's making dollars. If money goes into, unfortunately, international defense, military contractors, you best believe Greg's going that way.
I don't know how he's also managing his ice cream business, which he's just opened.
He's spread thin. He's spread extremely thin because the dollar is moving in many different ways.
Yeah, I would say stick to one, buddy. I would say don't overwhelm yourself too much. And maybe the ice cream way. Stick with the ice cream.
At the same time, he's investing in the military. Between you and me, he's betting against the military with exactly the same amount of money. Like he's investing, his investments almost cancel each other out.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad way to do it. Never let them know your next move. That's why I go to Vegas and bet on the dealer. And they're like, I don't think you're allowed to do that. It's like, I bet I'm going to lose money in this casino right now. And
That's
they're
actually sick. That's actually sick. You go into a bookies outside the casino and go, hello, I would like to place a bet for $5,000 that I lose 10,000 in the casino in Caesar's Palace.
You're bulletproof.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because what happens if you lose your bet? Because you made money? Well, then you don't owe money.
This is free
We might have to
game.
del- we
This
might
is
have to
free
delete
game.
this.
This is
We might have to delete this from the
bro.
podcast.
This
That's
is
crazy.
This is the shit JFK was coming up with before he got assassinated. This is like cooking on a whole other level.
I
All right.
don't listen to Diary of a CEO, but I assume it's dropping hot ideas like this.
God damn. So, Greg, we're already taking inspiration from you.
Yeah.
Keep going the Dala way. I could honestly learn a little bit from that. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon, throwing a couple of those Dallas our way. And thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. We're going to be back next week with more paranormal tales. And before that, on Friday with the after party on Patreon. Check it out if you haven't already.
You're gonna love
Next
it.
Tuesday. In the meantime, remember to live fast, investigate, and die young, baby.